You know, some brilliant collaborations in music burn bright and then just flame out. But the story of Effy Giraffe and the band Forever Animals, man, that is something else entirely. It's this wild case of creative ambition, music as therapy, and a very, very public, very messy breakup.
So, it all just explodes on July 14th, 2025. Out of pretty much nowhere, Effy Giraffe drops this single, super blunt statement. She's just done. She tells her followers she's stepping back, and just like that, for all intents and purposes, the band was over. So, you gotta ask the big question. How? How does the project with this much hype, launched by an artist that people absolutely love, completely implode in just 2 months? Well, to get the whole picture, we've got to go back to the beginning. Okay, so the seeds for this whole thing were actually planted right at the start of 2025. That's when Effy Giraffe started teasing a huge shift in her music. For years, fans have been hearing whispers about a dark era. This was supposed to be Effy at her most raw, her most vulnerable. And then, boom, January 1st, she drops this haunting new track, and it seems to confirm everything. This wasn't just a new sound, it felt like a whole new state of mind. And here's the crucial detail. According to sources who were close to the project, this dark era music was becoming intensely personal for Effy. So much so that it felt less like she was making music and more like she was in a therapy session. And the idea of putting that out under her own name, that became incredibly difficult. So what do you do with art that's just too painful to own yourself? You create a new identity for it. The solution wasn't to just shelve the project, but to reframe it entirely. And this is how Forever Animals was born, as a creative way to give this deeply personal work a home. And for the fans, you have to understand, this was a massive deal. This wasn't just some little side project. This was a brand new band presented by Effy herself. The hope and the hype were immediate, and they were intense. And everything just happened at lightning speed. I mean, look at this. Effy drops her solo song on New Year's Day. By mid-May, the band is officially announced. The very next day, they release a band version of that same song. And then, less than 2 months later, it's all over. Just a total whirlwind. In the beginning, though, the energy was absolutely electric. Effy was clearly excited. She was tweeting that this new project was something major and that fans weren't ready. This didn't feel like a reluctant move. It felt like an ambitious one. And this brings us right to the core of this whole project. This idea of transforming Effy's intensely personal therapy sessions into group anthems. And you can really hear that raw pain in the lyrics of her solo version of Darkness Inside of Me. I mean, lines about having revenge on her mind, about a darkness running through my veins. This was not just songwriting, this was the intimate emotional foundation of the entire project. Take the song Red, for example. It was first rumored and even listed on Bandcamp as a solo Effy Giraffe single. It had its own artwork, a pre-order page set up, the whole 9 yards. Then, suddenly it was completely rebranded as the next single for Forever Animals. Her solo work was literally becoming the band's identity.
But that exact process, that blending of personal pain with group collaboration, turned out to be the project's fatal flaw. It's precisely what caused the whole thing to just implode.
And here is Effy's side of the story, in her own words. The flashpoint was a song called Creatures of the Nightlife. She says it was her song, a potential hit that was, quote, ripped from her. She accuses her co-writer of letting the band butcher her music. I mean, these are really strong words that paint a picture of betrayal and a total loss of creative control.
The fallout was so swift and so absolute. This wasn't a quiet party of ways. This was a systematic erasure. Effy pulled her vocals and her name from all the releases. Her co-writing credits just vanished. Songs were pulled from streaming, and every single professional tie was publicly and decisively severed.
So in the aftermath, the battle wasn't really over, it just changed arenas. 2 very different narratives started to form. You had the official story being told to the public, and then you had this second, more cryptic story being told through the music.
The public perception was pretty clear. The band might continue, but the unique voice and vision that started it all, Effy Giraffe, was gone.
And that was the story pretty much everyone thought they knew.
But then, Forever Animals released a new track, and the title alone was pretty telling: Damage Control. And the lyrics? Well, they sure seem to be a direct and very pointed response.
Lines like, "Spin the story, dress it in gold, but baby, your mask is getting old."
This is damage, damage, damage control. You lost grip, now you're playing it cold. Spin the story, dress it in gold, but baby, your mask is getting old. Oh, this is damage.
I mean, that feels pointed, right? Is this the band's rebuttal? Are they basically accusing Effy of making up her side of the story? The song suggested a completely different narrative was at play. So you're left with two totally different pictures. Effy claims her music was ripped from her. The band's lyrics shoot back, "You lost grip." She accuses them of butchering her music. They sing about someone spinning the story. It's a classic he said, she said, but it's being played out through public statements and these really coded lyrics.
And all of this leads to this one final, really provocative question. This whole project only existed because the music was too personal for one person. It was essentially therapy. But when that therapy becomes a collaboration, and then that collaboration just falls apart, who gets to own the pain? There is no easy answer. And that question sits right at the heart of this fascinating, complicated story.